Hello there and welcome to a brand new video. I do hope you are doing well. This is How Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. In this lesson, we are looking at standard form, also known as the scientific notation. By the end of this video, you'll be able to understand how to convert large numbers into scientific notations and also convert what smaller numbers into scientific notations as well. Without much ado, let's quickly go into it. So let's start off by first of all explaining what a standard form is. When we talk of standard form, then we mean it's a method or it is a way of writing very large or very small numbers using powers of 10. You see, so if you have a very big number or a very small number, you want to write it, you want to use a standard form. Most of the times, or standard forms are written as a then times a 10 to the power n. The a over here is any number that is less than 10. So the first number of your digit should never be equal to 10 or even greater than it. So it should be less than 10, you see, and it can be greater than or equal to 1. So with this here would mean the numbers that can be a are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Apart from these numbers, the first digit cannot be any. If it is any apart from these that I have mentioned, then the number hasn't been written in standard form. Then we say the power over here, which is n, can then be any integer at all. Any integer. So that is standard form. Examples of when to use standard form is when you are quoting the formula or the distance of from the earth to the sun. Now we know the distance from the earth to the sun is around 149,600,000 kilometers, 600,000 kilometers. That is, you see this over here, which is very big. So in standard form, you can just write it as 1.496 times 10 to the power 8. You see how simple this looks. So this is where we use the standard form. So this and many others would we see as we proceed. Let's look at the steps to write a number in standard form. Since there are two cases, that is when the number is large and then when the number is small, let's start first with when you are working with large numbers. So as an example, let's take this number over here, which is 5,600,000. Now you should know that for every whole number, all right, there is a decimal point in front of it. There is a decimal point in front of every whole number. Hence, for this one here, it has a decimal point that you can see over here. You see, so for the whole numbers, the decimal points in front of them, we don't write them. Now, all you want to do to be able to write this digit in standard form is you want to move the decimal point from this side here to come to be over here. That is, it should be between the first and then the second digit. You see, so let's do that and see what becomes of it. Now, as we move, we count the number of times we are moving. You see, we count the number of times we are moving. So we are moving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So as you have seen, we have moved it 6 times. 6 times. Now, as we have moved it 6 times, we can then say that the number, which was originally this, has become 5 point, you see our point here, 0.6. Then all these zeros. Now, we know for decimals, if you have ending zeros, they are not that significant, so we can close them. And then we write times 10. It was originally a large number that we increased. So the 6 movements we did will come here as to the power 6. You get it? So anytime it was a large number and then you changed it into standard form, your power of the 10 is going to be what? A positive number. You get it? So our 5,600,000 here has become 5.6 times 10 to the power 6. You get it? As simple as that. Let's look at another bigger number. So over here we have 72,000 and we are being asked to write it in standard form. Writing this in standard form, we have 72000 and we know our decimal point is right here. Now, how many times are we going to move it? So we have 1, 2, 3, and then 4. You see, we have moved it 4 times. So this simply means the 72,000 has now become 7.2. You see, 7.2. Then times 10 to the power, how many times did we move it? 4. And as I said earlier on, if the number is a big number and you are changing it into standard form, then your power is always going to be what? Positive. Or others say if you are moving to the right, sorry, to the left, then make it a positive number. But then you become confused because we know our right are always the positive integers and then the left are always the negative integers. But if you understand it that way, fine. But what I say is, if it is a bigger number and you are changing it into standard form, then let your power be what? Positive. So we'll end the issue of bigger numbers here, and then let's look at very small numbers and how to write them in standard form. Now, for what we have here, we have to write 0.00032 in standard form. If you look at this number here, 0.00032, it is a very small number. You see, it is not even equal close to 1. Okay. So now it's the same procedure we use. Look at the number of times you are going to move your decimal so that your first digit is going to be what? Between, it should be from 1 to 9. So for this we have over here, our decimal point is what we see here. And how many times are we going to move it? The first digit here is not from 1 to 9. And our first digit that satisfies that is the 3 over here. So we want to move it to this point. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then 4. We have moved that 4 times. We have moved it how many times? 4 times. And hence we would have 0.00032. But take note, all these 0 here can be omitted. You see, we have left it 3.2. Now, times, how many times did we move the decimal? We did that 4 times. So times 10 to the power -4. -4 because it was a smaller number and we changed it into standard form. It was a what? A smaller number. So as I said, if the number is small and you are changing it into standard form, then your power is going to be negative. You get it? Or better still, if you are moving towards the right hand side for standard form, your power is going to be what? Negative. So as we have moved towards the right hand side, this direction, our power is going to be negative. That is so that if we want to change back, we'll be able to do what? Satisfy that. Now let's try one other last question and then we move on to our next. It says the mass of a dust particle is what? 0.0000045 grams. And we have to write it in standard form. You see how small this number is? So we have the number here, which is 0.6045. We want to write it in standard form. So we know our decimal point to be here. How many times are we going to move it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. We have moved it 7 times, you see. And then now it has come to be between 4 and then 5. So we have 4.5 because we said all these zeros have to be what? Omitted. So 4.5 times 10 to the power -7. -7 because it was a very small number and then we change it to what? Standard form. Or because we were moving to the right hand side. You get it? So this is how we are able to change numbers from decimals or large and small numbers into standard form. Now, apart from this, you should be able to change or convert a number into its normal form whenever you are given as a standard form. For that, let's take this as an example. So we have to convert 9.1 times 10 to the power 5 to an ordinary number. So the number was 9.1 times 10 to the power 5. Now, anytime we want to convert into ordinary numbers, write your decimal. So that is 9.1. This time around, we have times 10 to the power 5. So it means that we are going to get a bigger number because our decimal point is going to move to the right. So anytime you have a positive power, then it means you are going to increase the value, or you are going to move to the right hand side. Hence, we are moving 5 times to the right. So this is my first movement. After every movement, you can put a 0 after the point. This is 1, 2, 3, fourth movement, and then your fifth movement. So your decimal point has come to be here. You get it? So we now have 9, then 1. How many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then our decimal comes and our last 0. And obviously, you can choose to omit this last 0, the one that you have written after the decimal point. You get it? And this here becomes our ordinary number. And if you realize that even if you are to change it again into standard form, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get it? So sometimes you can check between the two to confirm your answer. You get it? So this is how we can also change from standard form into ordinary numbers. Let's look at the last one, which would be having a negative power. So with this here, we have to convert 4.6 times 10 to the power negative 3 to an ordinary number. You see that? So the first thing we need to do, just as we did this, we have to write the number 4.6. Now this time around, it is a negative power. So what that means is we are going to move, the answer we are going to get is going to be a smaller number. You get it? Or we are going to move the decimal point towards the left. So starting with what we have over here, our decimal point was here. So we'll be moving towards the left. And anytime you move, if there's no number, you put a 0 after the decimal point. So this is our first movement. And as you can see, there's no number. So you put a 0 here. 1. We move again. 2. Then we move again. Our decimal point comes to be here. Then we can put a 0 after it as well. You see. Now if you have to rewrite it, or we now have a 0, then point your 0, 0, 4, 3. You see the decimal point from here, 1, 2, 3, and has come to be here. So this will become an ordinary number of this standard form over here. So this is it on standard form conversion. If there's any issue of concern or you need any explanation on certain concepts, you can let me know at the comment section and I would address that for you. Now you can try these here just to test your understanding. So for the first one, you have to convert into standard form. And for the second one, you have the numbers in standard form and you have to convert them to their ordinary forms. I do hope this lesson was helpful. If it was, you can let me know at the comment section. This is How Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. If this is your first time, you can choose to subscribe so that you receive notification anytime I release a new video. Stay safe and then stay blessed. Bye.